Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Topical Economics. Today we are diving into multiple choice questions on multinational companies. This is a part of Cambridge IGCSE Curriculum Economics, paper code 0455. In this video, we will be reviewing some past paper questions, multiple choice questions that will help you grasp the essential concepts and excel in your economic studies. Remember, our motto is excel in economics, one topic at a time. So whether you are preparing for your exams or just want to enhance your understanding of multinational companies, you are in the right place. Let's get started. Starting with our first question, what is necessary for a company to be classified as a multinational? Option A, it diversifies its range of products. Option B, it exports most of its output. Option C, it increases its scale of production. Option D, it produces some of its output in different countries. A multinational company, when we look at, is characterized primarily by its operational presence in multiple countries. This involves establishing production facilities or manufacturing operations outside its home country. When we look at option A, it's diversifying its range of products. So while product diversification can be a strategy for growth, it does not inherently relate to a company's multinational status. Looking at option B, exporting indicates that a company sells its products internationally, but it does not require the company to have production in those countries. Option C, scaling production can occur domestically or internationally and is not a defining factor of being multinational. Coming to option D, produces some of its product in different countries. This is core characteristic of an MNC, as it is directly indicating that the company is involved in international operations and manufacturing, which is essential for clarification of MNC. So the answer for this question will be option D, that is, it produces some of its output in different countries. Moving on with our second question, the following table gives us information about 4 companies. Which one of these companies is not a multinational company? So they have given us a table which has information on the companies A, B, C, D. The number of countries in which the company has shareholders is given. The number of countries in which the company has factories is given. And the number of countries in which the country sells its products is given. Now, to answer this question, let's look at company B. Now, company B is having factories in 2 countries. That means that it has international operations. Company C, if we look at, it operates and produces in multiple countries. So again, this is a multinational company. Company D again is producing in multiple countries. This confirms its multinational status. Now when we look at Company A has production in only one country, which disqualifies it as being a multinational. So the answer for this question is option A, because to determine whether a company is multinational, we need to analyze its operational presence in different countries. Proceeding with our third question, international companies have made substantial investments in computer production in India. India is now a major center of world computer industry. Profit margins are high since labor costs are a tenth of those in USA. What does this suggest is the reason for companies locating in India rather than in USA? Option A is access to cheap land. Option B is availability of capital investment. Option C, availability of investment funds. And option D is competitive wage rates. Now, this passage highlights that labor costs in India are significantly lower, making it an attractive location for companies looking to minimize expenses and maximize profits. Now, you look at option A, A is access to cheap land. So this passage does not mention anything about land costs. Looking at option B, that is availability of capital investment. Now this is important, but again this passage is emphasizing more on labor costs specifically. Looking at option C, availability of investment funds. This is not addressed in the passage. It focuses on labor. So we come to option D, that is competitive wage rates. This is what the passage highlights about. So the answer for this question will be option D. Moving on with our fourth question. What would prevent an Egyptian company being classified as a multinational company? Option A, it concentrates on one stage of production only. Option B, it employs only Egyptian. Option C, it manufactures only in Egypt. And option D, it uses other firms to transport its goods. Now, a company must operate in multiple countries to be classified as a multinational. When we say manufacturing only in Egypt does not meet the MNC criteria. Option A concentrates on one stage of production only. So here a company can focus on one stage and still be multinational if it operates in multiple countries. Looking at option B, it employs only Egyptians. Employment nationality does not determine multinational status. And option D, when we look at, it uses other firms to transport its goods. So utilizing other firms for transport does not affect its multinational classification. So the answer for this question is option C, that is, it manufactures only in Egypt, would prevent an Egyptian company from being classified as a multinational. Coming to fifth question, what best describes a multinational company? Option A company that is owned by government. Option B, a company that has many shareholders. Option C, a company that trades internationally. And option D, a company that produces in more than one country. Now, first let us look at option A company that is owned by government. Now this describes a state-owned enterprise, not necessarily an MNC. Coming to option B, a company that has many shareholders. Having many shareholders does not define whether a company is multinational, because many companies have diverse ownership structures. Looking at option C, a company that trades internationally. So international trading is a feature of many MNCs, but it does not specifically indicate production in multiple countries, which is key to the definition of multinational company. Lastly, looking at option D, a company that produces in more than one country. So this option accurately defines a multinational company which is characterized by its operations and production facilities in multiple countries. So the answer is option D. Moving on with the sixth question, what advantage is gained by a company that becomes a multinational? Option A, it avoids trade barriers. Option B, it reduces fixed costs. Option C, it simplifies its management structure. Option D, it makes communication easier. So the answer for this is option A, it avoids trade barriers. Because by becoming a multinational company, a firm can operate in multiple countries, allowing it to bypass tariffs and quotas that might be imposed on goods imported from abroad. But let us look at the other options also that are given to us, why they are not suitable for this answer. Option B, it reduces its fixed cost. So multinational companies can achieve economies of scale. Becoming multinational does not inherently reduce fixed costs. Coming to option C, it simplifies its management structure. So managing operations across multiple countries typically complicates management rather than simplifying it. And looking at option D, it makes communication easier. So operating in various countries often introduces communication challenges due to different languages and different cultures rather than making it easier. So the answer for this is option A, it avoids trade barriers. Coming to seventh question, What is always true about multinational companies? Option A, they employ more workers abroad than in their home market. Option B, they operate in manufacturing industry. Option C, they originate from developed countries. And option D, they own production facilities abroad. So here, looking at first option A, that they employ more workers abroad than in home market, this is not universally true. Many MNCs may have more employees at home, in the home market. Coming to option B, they operate in manufacturing industry. So MNCs can operate in various sectors including services and technology, not just manufacturing. Looking at option C, they originate from developed countries. So many MNCs come from developing countries as well. So this is again not the answer. Coming to option D, they own production facilities abroad. So this is a defining characteristic of a multinational company. So owning production facilities in multiple countries distinguishes them from domestic firms. So the answer for this question is option D. Moving on with question 8. What distinguishes a multinational company from other companies? Option A, it has agents in other countries. Option B, it produces in other countries. Option C, it takes part in international trade. And option D, it uses raw materials and components from more than one country. So, let us review all the options. When we come to option A, it has agents in other countries. So, having agents in other countries does not define a MNC. Many companies operate internationally without being multinationals also. Looking at option B, it produces in other countries. So here, this is the answer. The ability to produce goods in multiple countries is a key feature that distinguishes MNCs from other types of companies. However, let's explore option C and D as well. Option C is it takes part in international trade. So while MNCs engage in international trade, so do many companies that are not multinational also engage. So this is again not the answer. Looking at option D, it uses raw materials and components from more than one country. So this can apply to various companies, not just MNCs, and does not capture the essence of being multinational. So the answer for this question is option B. It produces in other countries. Proceeding with our 9th question. The governments of low-income countries often allow foreign multinational companies, MNCs, to mine minerals in their country. Which conflict between benefit and cost might this cause the low-income countries? They have given option A, B, C, D, and benefit and costs have been given. So let us look at each of the options that they have given us. Option A is improved balance of trade and training by the MNCs. So here, training may be beneficial, but it does not create a significant conflict with balance of trade. Let us first look at option C and D, then we'll come back to option B. Option C is increased profits for MNCs and efficient production. So profits for MNCs are not a direct benefit to the low-income country, and efficient production does not present a conflict. Looking at option D, more sustainable development and economic growth. So sustainable development typically conflicts with short-term economic growth in resource extraction scenarios, but this option does not align with the given benefits. Looking at option B, higher employment and loss of finite resource. So this option highlights a conflict where the benefit of a higher employment from foreign MNCs mining operations is weighed against the cost of losing a finite resource, which is unsustainable in the long term. So the correct answer for this question is option B. Coming to our next question. Why do some governments limit the operations of multinational companies within their domestic economy? Option A, MNCs contribute to technological advances. Option B, MNCs decrease a country's unemployment rate. Option C, MNCs gain profits which are transferred out of the country. And option D, MNCs increase a country's current account surplus. So let us explore all options. Option A, that says MNCs contribute to technological advances. This is generally a benefit rather than a reason for limiting operations. Looking at option B, MNCs decrease a country's unemployment rate. So while MNCs can create jobs, this is not a reason for limiting their operations. Looking at option C, MNCs gain profits which are transferred out of the country. This could be your correct answer, because governments may limit the operations of multinational companies because a certain portion of the profits which is earned by MNCs, which is of a significant amount, is often repatriated to their home countries. So this leads to a loss of capital within the domestic economy. So this is the answer. But let us even look at option D. Option D is MNCs increase a country's current account surplus. This is also typically a positive outcome. It's not a reason for restrictions. So the correct answer is option C. Moving on with our 11th question. A multinational company wishes to invest in a low-income country to expand its palm oil production. What is most likely to make this investment possible? Option A, high cost of clearing forests to increase land for plantations. Option B, increased demand for palm oil. Option C, shortages of labor in rural economy. Option D, removal of subsidies for palm oil production. Let us explore these options. When we look at option A, high costs are a barrier to investment. They are not a facilitator. So this is not the answer. When we look at option B, increased demand for palm oil. So this creates a strong incentive for a multinational company to invest in expanding production, as it suggests potential for profitability. So this is the correct answer. However, let us look at option C and D as well and be sure. Option C, labor shortages could hinder production rather than encourage investment. So again, this is not the answer. And option D, removal of subsidies could make the production less attractive, thereby discouraging investment. So the correct answer is option B, increased demand for palm oil. Proceeding with our 12th question. Globalization is the process by which domestic firms become involved in international markets. What encourages globalization? Option A, controls on foreign exchange. Option B, immigration restrictions. Option C, increasing tariffs. And option D, widespread use of internet. So let us look at all the options. When we look at first option, option A, that is controls on foreign exchange, these typically restrict globalization by limiting the ability to trade currencies. So this is not the answer. Looking at option B, immigration restrictions can hinder the movement of labor and ideas, again limiting the globalization. Looking at option C, higher tariffs will create barriers to trade, thereby discouraging international market involvement. So this is also not the answer. Coming to option D, widespread use of the internet. So internet facilitates communication, trade, and information exchange, making it easier for domestic firms to enter and operate in international markets. So the correct answer is option D. Coming to our 13th question. What is a benefit of a multinational company to the host country? Option A, MNC may improve the regulation of its home country as a high quality producer. Option B, exports by a MNC may result in an improved trade balance for the host country. Option C, production by a MNC may lead to higher levels of pollution in the host country. And option D, profits made by a MNC are sent back to its home country. Let us explore all options. When we look at option A, this is not a direct benefit of the host country. So this will not be the answer. When we look at option B, exports by a MNC may result in improved trade balance for the host country. This looks as a correct answer. When a multinational company operates in a host country and exports its goods, it contributes to the country's trade balance by increasing export revenues. So this is the correct answer, option B. However, let us explore option C and D as well. Option C, if we look at higher levels of pollution. So the highlights of this option is that it's going to have a potential negative impact rather than a benefit. So again, this will not be the answer. And option D, that profits are sent back to its home country. So this indicates a capital outflow which does not benefit the host country. So the correct answer is option B. Exports by a MNC may result in an improved trade balance for the host country. Coming to our 14th question, how might a multinational company directly benefit a host country? Option A, it creates local employment. Option B, it depletes local natural resources. Option C, it imports raw materials. Option D, it receives tax concessions. So the correct answer is going to be option A, because a multinational company directly benefits a host country by creating jobs which can improve local economies and increase income levels. However, let us also look at the other options that are given. Option B, that it depletes the local natural resources. This is a negative impact, it's not a benefit. Looking at option C, imports raw materials. Again, importing raw materials does not provide direct benefits to the host country. And option D, when we look at, it receives tax concessions. So while tax concessions may benefit the MNC, they do not directly benefit the host country. The correct answer is option A. It creates local employment. Proceeding with our 15th question, many low-income countries rely on multinational companies to provide economic development. What is the disadvantage of this for low-income country? Option A, local firms close because MNCs are more efficient. Option B, new production techniques are introduced. Option C, balance of payments may improve. Option D, MNCs have to pay taxes on their profits. Again, the correct answer is option A, that local firms close because MNCs are more efficient. This is a disadvantage of relying on MNCs because their efficiency and resources can lead to local firms being unable to compete, resulting in closures and loss of local businesses. However, look at other options also. Option B, that new production techniques are introduced. This is typically an advantage as it can enhance local industry. Looking at option C, balance of payments may improve. Again, this is a benefit because MNCs can increase export revenues. And coming to option D, MNCs have to pay taxes on their profits. So again, this will have a positive aspect for the host country because it is providing revenue. So the correct answer is option A. Local firms close because MNCs are more efficient. Coming to our last question, question number 16. A Japanese car manufacturer decided to produce its cars in a factory in Europe. What would not be a reason why they might have chosen to do this? Option A, cheaper wage costs in Europe. Option B, availability of raw materials. Option C, to gain external economies from skilled labor in Europe. Option D, to increase Japanese self-sufficiency. Let us look at all options. First, option A, cheaper wage costs in Europe. This could be a reason depending on the region. Coming to option B, availability of raw materials. Again, access to local materials can be a significant factor. Looking at option C, to gain external economies from skilled labor in Europe. So skilled labor availability can enhance production efficiency making this a valid reason. Lastly, option D, to increase Japanese self-sufficiency. So a Japanese car manufacturer would not choose to produce in Europe to increase self-sufficiency, as that typically refers to domestic production to reduce reliance on imports. So the correct answer is option D, to increase Japanese self-sufficiency. Thank you for watching this video on my channel Topical Economics. I hope you found the content helpful and informative, and you have understood how to answer multiple choice questions on multinational companies. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on economics. Your support helps us grow and bring you even more valuable content. See you in the next video.